but I still didn't go 100% because I was telling this, I think, in the off call about how it was a little intimidating to really expose yourself in these classes because I felt intimidated by how much knowledge these other kids who started reading at an earlier age than I did. And that made me more, you know, that made me put more walls up because I was intimidated by their knowledge, and I just felt insecure, and I felt.
Well, Eric, you're also being kind of hard on yourself. It's worth mentioning that English was not your first language.
Definitely not.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, to come from that to like what you're doing now is pretty remarkable. You know what I mean? So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself either.
But
right?
I mean, but I was
Oh.
really good with English though. English was definitely my first language.
Okay.
You gotta have that mix.
Yeah. But like I was saying, it was kind of hard for me to go 100% in because, you know, like I had these cultural factors growing up, and I felt intimidated, and I didn't want to risk looking like a dumbass with my opinions in these classes, which made things even harder. Like I was telling Daniel about how I wanted to piss off a bunch of kids in my class, so I said my favorite actor is Sean William Scott.
Oh my god.
Which is still true. I still love Sean William Scott. And, you know, half of me said it just to piss people off, and the other half, what?
Lord, do you know who Sean William Scott is?
The actor? Like, yeah, I think so. But now I'm going to Google him just to make sure. Why? Is there a different Sean William Scott? Like, I'm kind of out of the loop sometimes.
It's Stifler.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Eric's favorite actor.
I know. Well, we've talked a lot about American Pie.
Dude,
I'm not saying it's not a great movie, but like when he told me that, and he does the thing, I was like, Eric, it's only ironic if you're joking. Like he's for real his favorite. I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis, you know, Robert De Niro. Nothing. No, Sean William Scott.
I don't know. I feel like more about like I have like some like guilty pleasure ones where I know they're not cool, but I love them deeply, and like I kind of fucking love it when people like are willing to admit the like random things that they're into and the random people they're into, and I think like that's one of the things that like I love nerding out with Eric the most because like Eric, like you threw the best parties in high school. Like I was never brave enough to throw a party or do anything like that. Like I don't know, I feel like we're all hardest on ourselves, of course, but like I feel like you're very hard on yourself because like I don't know, I think that how a lot of people see you is not, I don't know, I think you're a little badass, and I feel like you may not recognize that, but I feel like there's a lot more people who do, and like I love that you're like willing to say that in front of like people, like especially when it's something academic like English where they're all like
yeah, but also I was in really good shape, and I wanted to be a dick, and I wanted to just be like, because like people were saying like Audrey where's Audrey Harper?
I don't know who that is. Oh, Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn. See, I don't know who the fuck that is. Or
what?
I mean, I know who
Aaron,
it is.
On our movie nights, I'm busting out the classics. Okay?
I know who she is now, but back then I knew who she was too, but I just didn't care. I just put up these fucking walls where like, you know what? I don't care. I'm too cool for this.
But there was this mentality in those classes where like you were not really supposed to like anything that was popular.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go fucking fisted my way in there, dude. I was like, fuck it. But
that's brave in those cases though. Like so many people like will pretend to like something they don't just to sound like smarter or like better or whatever. Like I love people who are like down to own whatever version that is that they like love and are like, this is it, deal with it. I think that's pretty like badass.
Yeah, but going back to what fucking Charles was saying in that quote, like
you show some Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott, bro, I love him. If you ever see this video,
I was trying to think of another movie he'd even been in.
Goons.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Goon 1, Goon 2, Ice Age.
There's a Goon 2?
There's a Goon 2, yeah. It's on Netflix.
Oh.
Or Hulu. He was in Ice Age. He was in Employee of the Month, which is really good. He was in...
Is he really good? With Dane Cook?
No. Sorry. I think it's called something else, but it has the same premise where he's trying to get a job being employee of the month. And then there was this one where like a super dark one.
Standing Tall. No, is that what it's
Standing
called?
Tall. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was also in this other movie where it talked about him trying to commit suicide or something, which is really good. It was a really good dark comedy. I think he's a good actor. He's in a couple like thriller movies, which I haven't seen yet because I'm not a big fan of thriller movies. But I think he studied.
Isn't he in the brother, not stepbrother? What's
Role Models?
Role Models.
He's in Role Models. Yes.
He's funny.
Yeah. It's just like it had like it's kind of like a lot of these outside factors that made it hard for me to really go 100%. Going full circle after that tangent that we we're just talking about, but
and I also pro trolling hipsters at all times. So please.
Man, dude, trolling hipsters. I don't know. I was definitely immature. I should not have done that, and I definitely took in my education more seriously.
You didn't say it just to piss them off. You kind of knew how they would react, but that's honestly felt, which is what you're supposed to do, right? If anything, the ones who are pretending to like, I don't know, to read books that they, Infinite Jest, and like they never read it. It's like, yeah, because you don't like David Foster Wallace. You just want to sound cool. They're the ones who are being inauthentic. You're being authentic. You just authentically have bad taste. And that's honest because you own it.
Yeah, but I do agree with like the authenticity being way more valuable than like being cool. Like I feel like I'm not against like there are some things that are cool for a reason. Like don't get me wrong, I don't want to hate on that stuff, but like yeah, I do. There's so many, or like right now have you seen that online? How there's so many people who keep comparing like the political situation to like 1980, all these like old like sci-fi movies and like all the dystopian futures, and yet like a lot of these people haven't actually read these books, and so then they're like, oh, it's Orwellian, and then like, but they actually don't really know what that means, and it's like, oh, well, I haven't read the book, but like it sounds like that, and it's like, I don't know, it's one thing to say that and mean it and like be able to like reference stuff, but like to just know the reference and not really why it's important or what that matters, and like not really connect the two fully other than just like, oh, this is bad and this is bad, so same thing. Like I feel like that's way cooler. Like I would way rather hear someone in one of my classes go off on their like nerding out on something weird versus like nerding out on something cool and not actually having like any follow-up information,
Yeah, just like what we were talking about last video about identity and like who you are as a person, and like I guess to tie those two videos together, like if you don't really know who you are, can you really go 100%? Can you really dive in?
Great question.
Like, do you have to know who you are for you to start your own journey?
I think they're related, right? Like I know a lot of people who are pursuing someone else's dream, 100%. They've never questioned it. They're studying something they hate. They're working a job they hate because they were told by someone at some point that it was important. And, on the outside, they look successful. Maybe they hate what they do, So I think to know what really matters to them is, and not completely, can we ever completely like know ourselves? That's like a philosophical question, but I think you have to at least be honest about what you care about, what like sparks your fire, and then knowing it and having the courage to follow it are two different things, but hopefully you have both, right? But yeah, I don't know. To circle back to what you were saying about being online, I think online, when it comes to identity, you can kind of be anything you want. So a lot of people are constantly shaping that. Like I've gotten into arguments, spirited debates online with people about articles where they didn't read the article. They read the title,
yes,
the rest, and then they filled in the blank. And I'm like, well, what about this part? They're like, well, I didn't read it. And I was like, well, then what are you even doing? I was like, okay.
Did you read the source material for this class?
They posted. That's the worst part. They're like posting it. I disagree with this paragraph. They're like, well, I didn't get that far. I was like, well, it's the second paragraph. So you didn't read it, So, but yeah, I guess online you get to kind of perfectly curate the version of yourself you want to put out. And I don't know. There's good and bad to that, I guess, because maybe some people are afraid to be authentic. Rightfully so, right?
Dude, I took